All right, so here's my rig rundown for 2021. I had a lot of time on my hands in 2020, so made a few updates to my setup, and I will share those here. This is the 12 pedal farmer foot drum, and I'll start over here with the, the toe pedals. So what I've done is there's the older style foot drum came with a U-bar, which is mounted underneath here, and I've stacked this with two cowbells and a splash cymbal. So on this toe pedal, I have, if you can see it, I have a large cowbell, and then to this toe pedal, have a splash, like an 8-inch splash. And then I have a smaller cowbell that I can just flip around like that. So I can get a couple different cowbell sounds. And it's very easy to move out of the way. And on this side, the toe pedals, I have, I think it's a 14-inch crash, fast crash that I got with the kit. It's a Sabian, and I've got that on the pedal just above the kick. And then stacked on top of that is, I think it's a 12-inch Wuhan crash. Doesn't sound very good, but it's very cheap. Someday I'll replace these Wuhan cymbals. That's a Wuhan as well, 8-inch splash. And then these are Sabian hi-hats under here. And what I've done, so I have the clutch all the way off, and I get that tight closed hi-hat. And I made this lever. If you can see, this one's pretty solid compared to the first version that I made. And this gives me the ability to open the hi-hat by, it just lifts it up here. And I also added a piece down here. Raise the snare up a little bit out of the way. So you can get a better idea of what that looks like. And what that does is I can get 3 positions. So now I get kind of a half open right there. That sloshy kind of hi-hat sound. Or I can go all the way open. And still have the functionality of this closed hi-hat, whatever you call it. So that's pretty cool. And it's very easy to flip around. This pedal, what I did here, I didn't really use it very much. So what I did is I mounted, see if I can show it. I mounted one of those Piezo guitar pickups, and I use it as a trigger. And this, let's see if I can get a good angle on that. I don't think you can see it very well, but and I don't have any audio hooked up, so you can't hear it right now. I'll have to demo it later. So this hits a little mount that has one of those guitar piezo stick-on pickups on it, and then I use that as a trigger, and I trigger my drum sound. So like I use it for a clap or a jaw harp, various sound effects, and I get a lot more use out of it now. And then this third stick that I've added on here, losing focus. This third stick that I have on here gives me the ability to do drum rolls or get some accent notes by just overlapping the kick drum pedal. So kind of hard to do a roll standing up, but anyway, you get the idea, I think. And then what that looks like, I've updated it since the one I posted a while back, and I'm using a mic clamp, one of the snare mic clamps, so this thing totally clamps on and is stable. And then I still kind of do the same. This is like, I just heated up some soft like plastic and bent it. So it makes kind of a spring action, and just mounted it with another piece of kind of thick plastic to make it stable on the mic mount. Let's see, and then I've got above the toe pedals, I got more triggers that I use pretty much for toms. So and then it's 2 each, so I've got like a high tom and a lower tom. I can come across and get lower toms, a floor tom. Sometimes I make this pedal a floor tom trigger. And I'll show you. And then this is a kick drum trigger. And I also use a trigger on the snare. And that is from D drum, one of these that I connect underneath. I'll show you what this looks like. This is just, I have it stuck with like nano tape, so it comes off really easy, but this stuff, you know, keeps it nice and firm. I made this little mount. This was an update from the original one I have. This is a little more low profile. And then I have these mounted on using like bicycle chain links, and just bolted onto this piece of wood, and this just easily sticks back on here. Kind of hard to do with one hand, but put that back on, and that sticky tape sticks real good, but it doesn't leave any residue or anything on the drum. So I like that. Put that back in there. These are just momentary switches, and they it does require some special soldering of the wires. I have like a Y splitter cable that's coming out of this, and then you have to put you have to solder the tip and ring together for each of the inputs, stereo inputs that go into the drum trigger. If anybody's interested, I can kind of explain that further in some other video. Down here, this is a page turner, so it's Bluetooth, and it talks to my laptop, or sorry, my tablet, and where I've got all the songs, and it will change to the next song just by my feet, because I got tired of dealing with it with my fingers. It was too distracting. Plus, I just wanted to be able to change songs and go right into the next song without reaching out and flipping the tablet. And let's see, I'll talk about this. I made this little side-mounted unit, and I've got some different sticks and brushes and whatever. These are bolted on to this unit. I did do a video kind of breaking this down, how this works. This comes off. These are all just held on magnetically in here, and that comes off and goes inside here to carry it around. These just stay on, and then this whole unit is mounted securely to the foot drum on the side with some little like I guess they're picture hanger mounts or something, but anyway, they fit nicely in it. It doesn't slide around, doesn't move at all. This is this is like a spring magnetic and spring loaded, because to keep this from flying off, you just push down and then it catches up there. This is a piece of PVC, and down inside it's got a like a magnet, which isn't really necessary for this one, but it's how I've done all of my connections. But I added this little kind of J cutout to keep things from flying off. But now I can get like 16th notes and stuff really easy. Works really well. I love it. I use it all the time. And next to it, I've got, this was a remote cajon pedal from Dixon that uses like a bicycle brake cable to go up and activate the stick up there. And I've done kind of similar concept here with the attracting magnet, and then there's one down inside there that's just stuck on a stick, and then that locks into place. So I made out of dowel rods to kind of soften up, because it really, a regular stick is just so loud on the ride. So this is adjustable, and I can slide this up if I need it to be louder and give me a more solid hit. I can slide it back, but I can swap that out. Put the stick in there. Get a different sound. Also, I don't always keep the tambourine on there because it does make noise when you hit the ride, but it will just slide down like that. So I can, if I just need like single tambourine hits, and then that just goes back up like that. And what this is, I just put kind of an extended bolt on there that screws on top of the original one that sticks out, where you normally just put the wing nut to keep the ride cymbal on, and this just attaches over that. It gives me something to mount this on, so it looks pretty cool. If I take it off, it's still, everything stays in place. This, back to this one, can change this out and put a shaker in there, and it's all pretty quick change. And I can also use these same things. I've got these magnetic mounts as well on what holds these sticks in. See, that one's got magnets, got it's got some padding on it. This will slide in here. Same kind of deal. It will lock in. It's notched to keep this from spinning around, and then I can just swing this out of the way. And now I've got the toe post is doing the shaker or the jingle stick, whatever I need there. This is another cool thing I found, was just like a little rubber ball that I found in my backyard. Just stick this under here, and it, let me take that off. And I can get better, get a lot of bounce. Something like that rhythm's kind of hard to do without that there, but that just gives me a lot of extra. I can just bounce on that, get eighth notes and such. I found that my setup and teardown time was taking too long with my old setup, So I built this cabinet and I mounted a lot of the components up here. I've got the drum trigger unit, the Yamaha DTX 502, and then I've got my Yamaha mixer. Feeding into that, I ran out of channels, so I got this, I don't know, it's a Monoprice line mixer that gave me some extra channels. And if I can get that to come in, they're all labeled. So I got all this stuff labeled, but everything is basically permanently cabled, so I don't have to deal with taking this apart or putting it together every time. These Electro-Harmonix effects have rotary dials. These are not very foot pedal friendly at all. I mean, you can turn them on and off, but trying to lean over and like switch the sounds on these pedals is just too painful. So I mounted it up top. Since I don't walk around, I'm not moving, I'm sitting on a stool in one space, I can just reach over and change the sounds on this really easy. So I love that. So what I've got going here, this is probably going to require an audio demo to really show what's going on. But I've got a customized freeze pedal. A guy from Memotronics makes these things. He makes a whole bunch of stuff, customizes your pedals for you if you want. And what he did was he made an auxiliary button so that you can do this like remotely. You can push the button to freeze and sustain your sound. And then he also added an output extra to the normal output that just gives you the wet only. So this pedal normally feeds your dry signal through, and then when you sustain it, you hold this button and it will sustain your note infinitely or however long you're holding the button. And there's a few different settings to change that around. But this is really cool. So I had him make me one of these with the remote, and then the remote pedal, I hooked this with nano tape on my guitar and just used a keyboard foot pedal. So now I can, with my palm, I can push this down and then get sustain. So if I need to just like hold a long A or D or whatever and just let it hold, I can just hit that with my palm and then still keep playing whatever. If you're going to do like a little solo or something on top of that. Still messing around with it, but it's pretty cool. And then that feeds into this AB box, which gives me, I can feed the normal signal through here, which will let me play. You can just play straight through and straight through to the effects, and it'll keep playing, and then I can sustain when I want. Or I also can AB it to the B channel and just get the wet only, so that you don't hear the keyboard effects. You don't hear these until I actually push on this. So I can just be playing like acoustic guitar and then slowly bring strings in by just hitting this with my palm. So I have the option to do it both ways with this AB switch. I hope that made sense. It's kind of weird, I know, but anyway, makes sense to me. Okay, so in this unit, this is my pedal board that will sit in front of the drum machine. This normally stands upright, and it mounts into this box and latches in, and it's solid, and then I have a front and a back, and I can just wheel this around. But I can just pull this out. It's all wired, and I've got all these wires coming down. You probably can't see that. They're all bundled together, and then they come into this box where I plug my guitar in. So I have a stereo input for my little Thunder pickup, and then I have a mono input that is my Piezo pickup in my acoustic guitar under the saddle. That goes in there. So I have the two guitar inputs. Take this off. And this doesn't seem to slide around much, so I don't have anything latching it to the drums. Seems to be all right. And so these lines, everything's all hooked up at all times. I just pull it out, and from underneath, all those cables wind up. I can roll them up and stick them in here, and then just put this box in there, and everything's wired up and stays wired up, and it's really fast. So coming out from there, let's see, I'll go over this. This is just made this just a couple days ago, and this goes to a little Thunder pickup and my under saddle Piezo pickup. And then what I do, I come in stereo in here, and then I split the signal and go to a bass out, and then the little Thunder pickup guitar out, and then I have the input from the Piezo pickup and an output there. And what that does, the bass just goes straight. I just play directly into the mixer board with that. The guitar, this one goes over to this tc-helicon play electric, and this gives me a guitar tone, and it also does vocal processing and does harmonies based on the guitar chord that you're playing. So I've got that going in there, and then the other acoustic pickup goes into another play electric here. And I was going to do a play acoustic, but I just like the versatility of being able to get, like, if I want some distortion or overdrive or whatever, this just has more effects. So I bought two of them. This does my main vocal that generally has no harmonies on it, but I can process it with, everything else, reverb and delay stuff. And then it also does the guitar processing. So I usually run that with just a straight kind of soft acoustic sound. And then I use this one to add a little overdrive sound, and kind of it makes for some decent tone. This is for the harmonica, and this is the Digitech RP55. I don't think they make these anymore, but they were like really cheap, and they do a lot. It's a pretty cool unit, especially for harmonica. I like it. It's really for guitar, but I got that wired up, and then this comes out. I just roll those cables are all bunched up, and I roll them out and come up here and plug them into the main vocal mic, going into the left side tc-helicon. That's here. No harmonies here. This is just straight up, maybe some delay, reverb, whatever. And then this side is all the harmonies. Sometimes I do 2-part or 3-part, and I can change those around just based on the patch that's on this tc-helicon. And then the harmonica holder, I did have the one from Farmer that was pretty cool, but it just wasn't working for my needs. I wanted something mounted, so I made this, and it's got a Shure 58 Beta 58A, and so I don't really get it's hypercardioid, so I don't get a lot of bleed like between all my mics. This is also a Beta 58A, and then this is just a normal 58, and I don't seem to get any, or at least I don't get much bleed like in the harmony mic when I'm using this one, or the harmonica doesn't really bleed into this, and vice versa. I don't really bleed too much into here, a little bit, but not too bad. And this is magnetic, so I can take these out pretty easy and pop them back on. I don't think you can see the mic in there, but it's all stuffed with foam. Kind of trying to get that cupped, like hand cupped sound. But that runs into the RP55, so I can get overdrive and distortion, delay, reverb, or whatever effects on that. And I'm pretty happy with that. It works really well. And by having two, I can, if I have to change keys, I play all covers. I don't play any original stuff. And the harmonica is just kind of I haven't really gotten too good at it, but I can just play try to play some of the leads, and I can change keys if I need to, or this way between songs I don't have to change harmonicas as frequently since I have two mounted. And then what I did here, I got just a little lapel mic that I had sitting around. This is like an omnidirectional, and it just picks up like the overhead. I use this mount. This is where I mount my tablet, and then I just also use it to just do the overhead, and kind of it will get the jingle stick and the ride and the crash and picks all that up. I haven't actually used this live yet, but it seems to work pretty well, so I think it's going to be okay. I wasn't playing very big rooms or anything, so I hardly even need to mic all that stuff, but it's there if I just need to tweak a little bit. And this mic stand, I try to maximize everything. That's just like, I can clip my phone on there. It's just one of these little clamps. And I got tired of boom stands because the boom that came off of here would just, I'd be in the middle of playing and it would just all of a sudden sink. And it was very inconvenient, no matter how tight I tightened it. This is pretty heavy. This whole setup here is just too heavy for a boom. So what I did was I used drum hardware, and this is a like for a ride cymbal, or I guess any cymbal stand, and it's ratcheted, so I can just lock that at whatever angle I want, and it is not going to move or sink like a boom does, and it holds this weight pretty well. I mean, 2 mics, this box with the harmonicas. It's actually 3 mics when I got a mic element in here. It's just too heavy. So the water cup holder there on that clamps on. And then this is more drum hardware here. Same thing. This has like a ratcheted system. I can just lock it in place, and it runs up and holds my tablet and holds that overhead mic. And you can imagine that's pretty heavy, so this thing would normally just completely tip. But what I did was, yet again, more drum hardware I had laying around and some weights that I never used. So I found a way to just clamp these weights on to kind of counterweight this whole setup. And it works. It also, the tripod, but this way I only have one mic stand instead of like 2 or 3 different mic stands, like, or having my tablet off to the side. I've seen some people do that, and it's pretty cool. And that works if you can memorize the lyrics to songs, which I just can't. So I like to have it right in front of my face. But anyway, once you slide this under and you get one of these legs under the drums, it really doesn't go anywhere with the counterweight. It ends up being pretty solid. Okay, back to this unit. Also, so you saw the pedal board rolls up the cables and goes into here, and then this also has my speakers. So these are just the part of the Yamaha PA system, the speakers that came with it, and I just slide those in and out. And this is all my harmonica collection, and it's locked into place, so I need 2 hands for a second. So you unlatch these latches, and then it pulls out. And it locks into place, so it won't slide around. Pop the top off there, and that is probably half of my harmonica collection. Got a ton of them, and capos. So I just used like PVC pipes, glued them all together, and then they hold the harmonicas in place. They hold the smaller PVC holds the capos in place. These are really cool capos. They're cut. They don't make these anymore from Kaiser, and you can do some pretty cool stuff with these. But I have about every capo known to man, I think. I don't even know what the glider, I think this is called. You can just roll it up and down the neck with your thumb. It's pretty cool. I saw James Taylor using one of these, and I'm like, oh, I got to have one of those. So I got that. I got other partial capos. This just got this one. This is pretty cool. Does like holds 3 strings. Reviewing the video, and I saw I missed one of the pedals. This heel pedal here on the right side. I know Pete's now kind of came up with something that's similar to this stick, but I use it for, I've got the Farmer Woodblock mounted under there, and that I also have a trigger on there, but that gets my side stick sound. So I didn't want to make sure that I didn't leave any one of the Farmer pedals out, but that's what I do with that one. And overall, I'm so stoked to have a Farmer foot drum. Just things like changed my life. I quit my job, started gigging, then the pandemic hit. So hopefully we'll start gigging again soon. But anyway, this thing's great. I love it, and thank you, Pete Farmer. And thanks everybody, the ones who requested that I do a rig rundown. This was fun. All right, thanks. Bye.